crown of thorns on his head? Do you think it's when he was beaten with a Roman whip, most likely a Roman cat of nine tails? Do you think it's when they drove those nails through his hands and his feet? As horrible and horrific as all of that was, I don't think that was his most painful moment. I'll tell you what I think his most painful moment was in just a moment. But we are coming to the end of our series in the Gospel of Mark. We've called this series The Gospel for Busy People. We have one more message, and it will be on the resurrection. In this message, I'm going to talk about the crucifixion, the death of Jesus. You know, someone came to me and said, you can preach two more messages before you go to heaven. This is the theme I would choose because it's the heartbeat of the Gospel of Mark. It's the heartbeat of the whole Bible, the death and resurrection of Christ, and it should be the heartbeat of our lives as well. Let's not forget that the book of Mark was written to bring encouragement to people. And Mark has this interesting style where everything's in movement in the Gospel of Mark, almost like you're there, sort of a breathlessness, if you will, about the way that he writes. He uses the word immediately, over and over again. But he was writing to believers who were being persecuted. He was writing this to believers who were suffering, and he wanted to bring them some encouragement. Don't you think we all could use some encouragement right now? Our nation, the United States of America, is in a state of crisis right now. I can't remember a time, at least in my lifetime, and I was around in the 60s, when we have been more divided. And many are freaking out. Some are living in fear. So what should we do? Shall we just go into our homes and lock our doors and shutter our windows? No, we should open our windows like Daniel did, and we should pray. And we should go out that door, out into a needy and hurting world, and preach the gospel. Listen, this is not the time to isolate. This is the time to permeate. This is the time to infiltrate. As a matter of fact, as Mark brings his gospel to an end, to these suffering Christians he's writing to, a church that was being persecuted, he closes by quoting Jesus, who says, go into all the world and preach the gospel to everyone. And then we read,